Good evening, my son.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been 3 years since my last confession, and
My son, please, don't.
Don't what?
Don't confess to me.
But you're the priest. That's why I'm here.
I've been taking confessions for 30 years now, but I've never given any of my own.
But you're a priest. Priests don't...
If you only knew, sins fill both sides of this box. Every priest, every pastor, and every church have sinned. We have misrepresented the very nature of the God we profess to follow, and we have hurt so many people. My son, please, hear my confession. It's our turn to confess. Let me start by saying we repent for every innocent life that was taken in the Crusades, for every heretic that was burned at the stake during the time of the Inquisition, for every indulgence that we ever sold to a peasant, promising them salvation, and for every Native American that was infected by our diseases, slaughtered by our swords, or forced to work as a slave on their own land during the time of the conquistadors, for every anti-Semitic word that Luther ever wrote, and every Christian in the South who owned slaves during the Civil War. They whipped them and punished them just for the color of their skin. And we repent for every child that was ever molested by a priest. God, forgive us. And for every single teenager that was ever molested by a youth leader. And for our failure to expose these things when victims came forward. We should have supported you. But instead, we stifled you just to save face. And we repent for every pastor who should have been at home with his wife and his precious kids, but he was out at some hotel sleeping with his secretary. For every slimy televangelist who uses the donations that he receives from the poor, from the elderly, to live like a playboy, while children in other countries and in our country are emaciated and they're starving to death. For every Christian and every pastor who dared to tell someone who was suffering that they just didn't have enough faith to receive their healing. And for every church and denomination that had the gall to look down on divorcees and treated them like second-class citizens just because their marriage didn't work out for whatever reason. And for every judgmental word that was spoken in a pulpit or whispered in the pew about young girls that got pregnant. Instead of supporting you when you needed it the most, so often we've demonized what you've done and made you feel completely worthless. And we repent for every hateful sermon and every unkind word that was ever spoken about the LGBTQ community by a pastor or a Christian. Somewhere along the way, we let our disagreements with your lifestyle become bigger than the gospel. And that is shameful, so shameful. And we repent for every professing Christian who had the audacity to protest a soldier's funeral, of all people, and wave hateful signs at their very families who were grieving and mourning at their graveside. And for every single person who has ever been lied to or manipulated by the leadership of their church, who has been beaten up and killed by legalism so bad that they don't even believe in God anymore. We are so sorry. We have failed you.
It's okay, Father.
No, it's not. It's not okay. Not anymore. Christ was so different. Forgive us, Father, for it is we who have sinned.